Charlotte, when you were in school, did you ever have to use like those TI-86 graphing calculators in the
Oh yeah.
classes?
I
Yeah.
I got good at like the games on those. Did you know they had games on those?
Yeah, I think that was after my time. I'm a little older, but
Mm.
guess what? You don't have a TI-86. You gotta use your hands, Charlotte. We're using word count because it's Wednesday, and we're not using it, we're playing it. But guess what? I don't use a prompter, so sometimes I say the wrong word. Charlotte, I'm going to
Yeah.
read you a question. You gotta answer it in less than 10 words. How will we know, Charlotte, when you've used up the whole number of words that you have allotted to
Because
you?
because I'm gonna have my hands up and I'm gonna count on them like this.
Like a
But
child. Like a child.
well,
Charlotte, first
or like a
question.
visual learner. I mean,
First question.
okay.
Do you think Jimmy Butler is a Hall of Famer right now? Why and why not? Or why not? Ugh.
Yes. Because I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes,
visual learner.
because multi-time all-star, all NBA, all defensive.
Wow. It's not a
No, because
sentence.
yes, look, he hasn't won a championship, but he's been the best player on 2 finals teams. He's been what, 5-time or 6-time all-star? 5-time, I think. And he's an amazing player, and I feel like guys make it in with those sorts of accolades all the time. I think a championship would be like, okay, obviously, but I do think that he's at this point, I think he'd be in.
Yeah, it's interesting. Basketball Reference, which is a wonderful website, does this thing called the Hall of Fame probability meter. Basically, it takes all the players in the Hall of Fame and it analyzes their stats and accomplishments they did, like only objective things. How many All-Star appearances, how many All-NBA, how many All-Defensive teams, how many MVPs, final MVPs, all those things, as well as their stats, points, rebounds, assists, et cetera, et cetera. And from there, it runs an algorithm and it applies it to every player who's active and sees their stats and accomplishments and how closely does it match up to a Hall of Fame resume. It's not an end-all be-all, and it doesn't count your international exploits, your college exploits, which of course count towards the Basketball Hall of Fame. Jimmy Butler's number is a shade under 73% probability, which places him among the top 15 active players right now in terms of Hall of Fame probability. So I think it's a pretty good chance that he will. Charlotte, what you got for me?
All right, I mean, explain the different roles and need for multiple assistant coaches.
All right, this is like in the spelling bee where someone says, spell cat, and then you, onomatopoeia. I'm like, all right. Different roles for assistant coaches. Player development, advanced scouting, strategic planning, AKA offense, defense schemes.
Nice. Wow, wow, wow.
Yes. Now, mind you, many coaches might fulfill all of those things. They might do a little player development, a little advanced scouting, a little, hey, this is a good play. I saw Sienna and Marist run last night. We could use this as an under out of bound or whatever. But people tend to have like strengths. Former players, a lot of times when they first come in and their first kind of assistant coaching job, it is very much, hey, we need someone to go out there, work guys out, but also to fill in, because as we're getting more and more players who are resting during practice, you need a guy to come in and play pickup, or not pickup, but fill in, either on the defensive team or on the offensive team. So that happens a lot. Then you've got the guys who came from the video room, so they're naturally going to be a lot better at advanced scouting because they've been watching video of all of these teams and matching plays on video to plays drawn up by the advanced scouts. So you got guys who are going to have a strength in that way. And then there are guys that are going to be like those old coaching lifers who are like, yeah, we ran this in '88 when I was at Portland against, the Lakers, and they're coming up with those sorts of things. And it's the head coach's job not only to be, to have a diverse staff who can offer all those strengths, but also you don't have to be an expert, but you got to know enough that you can have an intelligent conversation with everybody about all those different things.
Wow. You're an encyclopedia, I mean.
I've been around a long time. That's all it is. All right. Oh, wow, this is a nice one. All right. It's a nice change of pace. Charlotte, your favorite player growing up and why?
Oh,
Yeah.
this is really cute. Okay.
It's like, did this fall in from another pile?
Yes. Michael Jordan, because duh. And a bit later, Paul Pierce.
Yeah, and is also counts, by the way, as a. You said and, but you didn't throw up a finger.
I did. I put up my pinky for that.
Michael Jordan because duh.
And
okay.
Okay. No, I think Michael Jordan because I mean obviously he was everywhere, but also because my older cousin who I thought was the coolest person who'd ever lived, shout out Andrew, you're still pretty cool. Was obsessed with him, so I was like, oh cool, this is a cool thing to do. I'm obsessed with Michael Jordan. And then in '98, Paul Pierce shows up on the Celtics, and I was like, this guy, love this guy. And that worked out pretty well for me. So what a cute little question.
Yeah, I feel sad for Dana Barros, Rick Fox, Dominique Wilkins, D. Brown, all those guys, all those Celtics of the
Antoine
90s
Walker.
who were like, chop liver?
Sorry. Who is yours, I mean?
My favorite player going up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really had a favorite player. That's a weird thing. Like for someone who's loved basketball, I've never had a favorite player. I know I didn't like Michael Jordan because obviously I grew up a Knicks fan and Michael Jordan was like the responsible for so much anguish as a Knicks fan. But it's not like people say, oh, so Patrick Ewing's your favorite player. I'm like, no, not really. Was it Charles Oakley? Like, I mean, I liked them all. I like Starks. I mean, hell, I was so deep in it. I was like, I like Charlie Ward and Monty Williams and Anthony Bonner. And like, I was going Doc Rivers. Like, I was pulling. But to say that that's my favorite player, I don't know, man. I don't think any of those guys are my favorites.
All right, hit me.
Your dark horse team to win it all this year and why? If we had the rights to the music, I'd say play Katy Perry.
The Warriors, not standard dark horse, but this year-ish.
Yeah, not standard dark horse, just like Pegasus.
No. But hear me out. I don't think many people think that the Chris Paul thing is going to work. I don't think many people think that like, oh, this is a perfect situation. I think there are a lot of personalities over there. I think we're going to have to see how it works. And I actually do sort of think there's a chance that it works and they win their 5th championship. And I sort of want that, like, obviously, I sort of want it to happen. I sort of think it's the funniest possible outcome if Draymond does indeed win Chris Paul his first championship. I mean,
I'm not averse. I don't think it's far-fetched. I'm one of the people who's curious to how it's going to work.
Right.
Stylistically, for sure. I don't think the personality thing is going to come up at all. But I think stylistically, there's some issues there that they've got to realize and figure out. But I feel like dark horse has to be like
the Pacers.
The Knicks are going to win the championship. That's a dark horse, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well, maybe I wanted to be right more than I wanted to choose I don't know. Okay, are you ready? I'm giving you your next one.
Yep.
Will the NBA's new rules on resting stars work and why?
Not really, because teams always find a way, right?
Oh.
And what I mean by that is like there's loopholes. There's loopholes. So first and foremost, the policy, Charlotte, is about resting multiple stars in the same game, right? Multiple stars. So certain teams like, the world champion Denver Nuggets have, by the NBA's definition of what a star is, someone who's been All-NBA or an All-Star in the last 3 seasons. The Nuggets have one player who qualifies for that, and that's Nikola Jokic. Because they don't have multiple stars by the NBA's definition, that means they can sit and rest Jokic because what's he going to do? He's going to play every game? You can't force him to play every game. So they are kind of exempt from that policy. Someone else who's exempt from that policy are rookies, guys who have not been in the league long enough to be an all-star and all-NBA. Guys like Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson. They can sit as much as they want as well because they don't fall under this policy. Same thing for any second-year player, soon-to-be second-year player who hasn't achieved anything. Paulo Banchero played for Team USA. He's a great young talent. He's not an all-star or an all-NBA player, so guess what? Paulo Banchero can sit. And so, like, there's a lot of loopholes there. Then the other part of it is who defines when someone is hurt, right? Because the idea is like this is for healthy scratches. So if I say I have knee tendonitis or back spasms or lower back soreness, who's to say, like, what kind of, are we going to send medical police all across the league? Wait a second, let me check your back. And they're not going to be able to do that. Tendonitis, how do you detect that? There's no MRI for that, right?
Right.
And then the other part of it is if you are dealing with something like mental health. We talk about taking it more seriously and giving it more credence and all, and we're doing the PSAs. If someone's dealing with a mental health crisis, again, are you going to ask them, hey, in the middle of this, come talk to this doctor? And the doctor is like, I think he's faking it. I think
he's good.
There's just a lot of loopholes there. So people are going to be able to beat the system because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to beat the system to win.
Yeah. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Just
not
kidding.
Cheating, you're not trying.